what's up, Facebook, YouTube, all the people that are joining me from Apple Podcasts as well as Spotify. It's your boy back again on this beautiful Wednesday night. It's a little rainy outside where I'm at right now here in Alabama, Northport, Alabama. But I am here to provide you with your sports news for the week. Um, like it says right here, please like, share, and comment and subscribe to Titletown TV on YouTube as well as Facebook. Um, Today we got a full slate for you guys tonight. We'll be talking NFL and NBA. Got a lot of NFL news. It's been a crazy week already, and it's only Wednesday. So let's go ahead and get into it. Of course, I'm gonna start off by saying happy trails to the GOAT, Tom Brady, who retired after 22 seasons in the NFL. Um, a guy who I grew up to hate when he played for the Patriots as a Colts fan. Growing up, I was a huge Marvin Harrison fan, so one of the first team I gravitated to growing up was the Indianapolis Colts, who wasn't in the same division as the Patriots, but always was one of those playoff rivals um, during the early 2000s and late 2000s, tens or whatever, when they had Peyton Manning, Marvin Harrison, Wedgie Wayne, um, Adrian James, guys like that. And the Patriots always seemed to beat us. We were able to upset them a couple times during the playoffs, and of course, the regular season, we played a little better. But yeah, Tom Brady always delivered in those crunch time moments. Um, he finished his career with 84,520 passing yards, 624 touchdown, which is number one, both number one for all time quarterbacks. He's a 15-time Pro Bowler, three-time All Pro, seven-time Super Bowl champ, won the Super Bowl MVP five-time and NFL MVP. With those credentials, obviously he is obviously the GOAT. Has taken down great teams such as the Russell Wilson led Seattle Seahawks, the early Carolina teams, of course, the St. Louis Rams, who was led by the greatest show on turf with Kurt Warner and those guys. The Philadelphia Eagles, who had McNabb and T.O. back in the day. Of course, last season leading the Tampa Bay Buccaneers to a championship over the Kansas City Chiefs. Yeah, man, just great career by him. Went 7 for 9 in the championships in the Super Bowl. So I mean, great career by Tom Brady. Was great to see him finally hang it up, as well as it was kind of a bittersweet moment. Really, I wanted to see him go ahead one more season. I felt like he had so much left in the tank. I think he had like 43 touchdown passes this season to only maybe like 15 interceptions, which is a crazy number for a 40 plus year old quarterback still doing his thing in the NFL. Him and LeBron are just killing the game 20 plus years into their careers. But yeah, man, great career by Tom Brady. I know this weekend it was a lot of controversy with him and his dad saying he's not officially retired. He need time to continue to talk to his family about it. But 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 he finally made it official yesterday. So yeah, great. Like I said, happy trails to him. Whatever he decided to do in his future, I'm sure he's going to see him and Giselle. We're going to make something happen. Of course, I know he has his own cryptocurrency going on right now. So, I mean, or maybe he does. He pulls a Brett Favre, Michael Jordan, and eventually comes back. Maybe he just needs some rest and don't want to go through the off season. Toll with training camp, OTAs, and all that stuff like that. So maybe he comes right before the beginning of the season and comes back for the Buccaneers. They could definitely need him. I know they drafted former Florida quarterback Kyle Trask in the second round this past season. So they have a guy waiting in the wings, but we haven't seen him very much of him, obviously because of how good Tom Brady played this season. But yeah. Speaking of which, I have a few quarterbacks I want to go in to talk about tonight. Um, Aaron Rodgers, Russell Wilson, and Jimmy Garoppolo, a guy who was supposed to replace Tom Brady in New England, but was eventually traded to the 49ers, who led the 49ers to the deep into the playoffs this past season, as well as a Super Bowl appearance a couple years ago against the Chiefs. So let's get into Aaron Rodgers. It's not official that he's leaving right now, but I know he's been very upset with the organization. The culture isn't the same as it used to be. Um, it just, I guess, it wasn't the same for him, whatever like that. He not really uh, accommodate his needs. I know there's been a lot of talk about them not drafting a young wide receiver to help go along with his favorite receiver, Devontae Adams. They did bring in his former receiver, Randall Cobb, um, longtime friend of his. But yeah, let's get into some of his possible destination. But number one, I have the Tennessee Titans. They were maybe third on my list before today. I did see that he bought some land, whether as a house in Nashville, Tennessee, which is, of course, the home of the Tennessee Titans. So yeah, I got Tennessee Titans at number one. Um, of course, because of the information I just gave you, as well as the pieces that he would have around him. He has AJ Brown. He has Julio Jones. Um, he has the best back in the whole entire NFL, and Derrick Henry. Um, a defense who sacked just a couple weeks ago sacked Joe Burrow 9 times. So a defense who can get it done, obviously. Um, so maybe he's the missing piece. I know there's been a lot of talk about uh, Ryan Tannehill's poor performance during the playoffs, as well as as his big contract and how he hadn't truly deserved it yet. So definitely are looking forward to see possibly seeing him in the Tennessee uniform. Um, and number two, I have the Pittsburgh Steelers. Again, just looking at the landscape of the Steelers as of right now. Um, they do have Najee Harris in the backfield. They have a couple good receivers and Deontay Johnson as well as Chase Claypool, who could be future Pro Bowlers if a quality quarterback, um, a future quarterback, a good quarterback behind the helm to replace Big Ben, who had a down year. He didn't have the show the arm strength he used to have at one point in time. Uh, just didn't play great, and you can tell that the receivers suffered from that. So a guy like Aaron Rodgers could definitely come in and help those young receivers come along. What's up, Coach Elon? Uh, we definitely be chopping it up here soon. I'll be coming out to some of you guys' practices and games here soon, so uh, be giving you a call. Um, but yeah, back to the Steelers. Yeah, it just didn't come together for them this year. They were somehow able to make the playoffs. They wasn't eliminated in the wild card round, but yeah, a guy like Aaron Rodgers could probably push that Steelers team a little further. And there's been a lot of talks of Devontae Adams joining Aaron Rodgers wherever he goes, and add Devontae Adams to a room that already had Deontay Johnson as well as Chase Claypool would give the Pittsburgh Steelers the most loaded, the the loaded, most dominant trio of receivers outside of maybe Dallas with Coop and CD Lamb, guys like that. Um, I see Tennessee with Julio and well as AJ Brown. Um, yeah, so I got number two. I have the Pittsburgh Steelers. Number three, Denver Broncos, who seem like they've been the favorite uh, going into the season to grab Aaron Rodgers from the Denver Packers. Me love the Denver Packers. The the Green Bay Packers. Uh, Team who has a lot of young talent on both offense and defense. Uh, Javante Wiggins, the young running back they drafted in the second round this past season, who's splitting carries right now with Melvin Gordon, as well as Jerry Judy, receiver from Alabama, who was drafted a couple years ago in the first round. Cortland Sutton, who just signed the extension, who's going to be there for a little minute, and obviously that the Broncos believe in. Noah Fant at tight end. Also, Tim Patrick, a guy who they've been developing for a little minute. KJ Hamler, if he comes back in from injury and continue to show flashes of explosiveness and excitement at receiver, could be pretty good. Offensive line starting to come together. They have two great corners in Kyle Fuller and Patrick Surtain Jr., another Alabama player. Just I can definitely see him making his way down to Denver. And here's my last two teams, my honorable mentions. I don't want to call them. Going back to Green Bay is definitely an option. Of course, they have Jordan Love waiting in the wings, but I don't see him as that guy for them moving forward. When he did play those couple games that Aaron Rodgers missed, he didn't play so great. Was missing a lot of targets, so maybe Aaron Rodgers come back and try again one more time. He did win the MVP with them last season, and possibly win the MVP this season as the way he played. Uh, my second honorable mention, I have the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Yes, replacing Tom Brady. I did mention just a second ago about Tom Brady possibly coming back. I'm not him. I don't know what he's thinking right now, but of course he could possibly come back. If not, if I'm Tampa, and I really think that Aaron Rodgers is the answer, or that we're a quarterback away in general, I'm definitely will be calling up some of these free agent quarterbacks or quarterbacks who's on the trade block, such as Russ, Aaron Rodgers, Jimmy G, Deshaun Watson, guys like that. Uh, because they definitely obviously are Super Bowl ready. They have the same team as they won with last year. Just Chris Godwin could possibly come back from injury, as well as sign an extension with the team. They still have Pro Bowler Mike Evans. Uh, they do running back by committee. All two three guys they have can definitely give yards at a young offensive line who will be there 5-10 years down the road, still killing the game. Their defense, who they're steady retooling as they get older. Um, so I could definitely see him possibly going to Tampa in the future. Um, Possible destinations for Jimmy G. This list was somewhat hard to come up with. I didn't want to stick with the same teams uh, that Aaron Rodgers didn't go to, that might not go to. So uh, it was kind of hard not to, but he's definitely a solid number two. But my number one team would be the Washington Commanders, just formerly known as the Washington Football Team, also formerly known as the Washington Redskins, the Washington Commanders. If they get a guy like Jimmy G, I feel like it's just a 1 year project to where Ron Rivera is like, hey, look, I'm taking Jimmy G and trying to get him to be, at least a guy who can get to us to the playoffs and show that, uh, to get me off the hot seat. Pretty much, this is my save my job type of move that I can see that Ron Rivera making. He's a great head coach. Got the defense playing spectacular. It wasn't as good as we all expected this past season, but year before last, with defense rookie of the year, Chase Young and company was a great defense. Of course, you had Terry McLaurin at receiver, Antonio Gibson at running back. But I can definitely see them with some offseason moves, making a push toward the playoffs. They're in a fairly easy division, who was won by um, the Philadelphia Eagles. Won by the Dallas Cowboys, close second, and the Eagles, and then the Giants. They're so up and down, you never know. So a fairly easy division to win, and maybe their quarterback away should do just that. Um, Number two, I have the Pittsburgh Steelers. Um, Jimmy G in the Steelers uniform. I can see that only because the quarterback they have in place behind Big Ben, who's behind Big Ben, and Dwayne Haskins, a former Washington football team quarterback, and Mason Rudolph. I don't see them trusting just yet. So if they still want still want to develop those guys, they could behind Jimmy G, or look in the draft and have a bridge quarterback in Jimmy G. Um, Maybe a Matt Corral in the middle of the first round, or trade back and get a guy like Malik Willis or Sam Howell in that spot. So definitely we'll look at Jimmy G again. Denver Broncos. I believe that they're a quarterback away from being one of the guys, one of the teams who can sneak into the playoffs. They are in one of the toughest divisions. It seems like the West divisions are the toughest divisions. The NFC West and the AFC West are toughest divisions. Um, the Los Angeles Chargers barely missed playoffs this past season. Of course, the Las Vegas Raiders, they made the playoffs under Derek Carr, and Pat Mahomes did his thing. Finally got that team together in Kansas City towards the end of the season. They got real hot. They were my Super Bowl pick because they, like I mentioned, they got hot at the right time towards the end of the season. A lot of people wrote them off, but they made the playoffs. They got through the first round. Of course, they lost last week to the Cincinnati Bengals in a rematch from the regular season game. Um, Honorable mention: Houston Texans. I don't this one I don't see only because I feel like they have something going on with Davis Mills, a guy who they I think is drafted maybe the third round out of Stanford, who showed flashes of being that future quarterback for Houston as they move on from Deshaun Watson. Um, yeah, I don't. I can see him possibly being his backup if anything, but I think they should ride with Davis Mills as they continue to rebuild that team. I don't really see them as a playoff team anytime soon. So just adding depth at every position could definitely, at each position could definitely help them in the right direction toward the future. And a guy like Jimmy G could definitely help mentor Davis Mills along. Um, Tampa Bay Bucks. It just seems like he is that guy to replace Tom Brady. They tried it in New England. They traded him away maybe a little too early, um, or maybe a little too early. But maybe he finally gets his shot in Tampa. I'm sure they are looking towards the playoffs next season as well as a Super Bowl appearance. They like I mentioned, they're still the defending champs up until February 13th, when the Rams or the Bengals win the Super Bowl, which we're getting to a little later. Um, Here in a second about who I predict to win the Super Bowl. But yeah, those were my teams for Jimmy G possibly going to. Um, right now, I'm gonna go into the possible destinations for Russell Wilson. Um, it's not completely set in stone that he's leaving the Seattle Seahawks. He showed his frustrations. He has been asking for more playmakers, better offensive weapon, being offensive weapon, offensive line help. Uh, it's just been a struggle for them to find help for him. And I'm not sure if Pete Carroll is the right coach for them right now. So maybe he gets traded to my number one team here, the Philadelphia Eagles. I can see them trading for him. They have a lot of draft capital this year. They have three first rounders, so maybe a couple first rounders and Jalen Hurts could make that trade work. Um, of course, they have Devontae Smith and Miles Sanders for um, Russ to work with if they does get traded to the Eagles, as well as a defense who they are steady adding to. Um, um, so number two, I have the New Orleans Saints, who, in my opinion, they should probably draft a quarterback and just rebuild. They lost Drew Brees last season. Sean Payton officially stepped down last week. Um, so I definitely can see them going a different route and possibly going rebuild. If not, they were close to make them playoffs, even without a true number one quarterback. After Jameis went down and Taysom Hill and Trevor Simeon didn't play their best, and so they feel like they're still a quarterback away. Russell Wilson will definitely be a great option to replace Drew Brees. Maybe they bring back Jameis and try to run it back one more last time, but I definitely can see them going towards rebuild at the moment. And then I have Minnesota Vikings. Yes, they have Kirk Cousins on the contract still, but he hasn't truly been the answer. And right now, I wouldn't say he's wasting Justin Jefferson's uh, best years. Um, because he obviously hasn't reached his potential yet. He's only in the first couple of years, maybe 3 years down the line, he would truly be in his prime. I'm saying this about a guy who's now a two-time Pro Bowler, who's had over 1,000 yard season in his rookie year and his sophomore season now. But I can definitely see him going and elevating that team, who has a great run game, and with Dalvin Cook and those guys in the backfield, Adam Thielen, who is getting a little older, isn't very as a productive, maybe because of Justin Jefferson is on the other side. Um, Irv Smith Jr. at tight end. They drafted Christian Durasol last season to help protect Kirk Cousins. They do have Kellen Mond waiting in the wings. Maybe Russ is the better pick to bring along Kellen Mond. Um, so yeah, I got the Vikings at three. Uh, Honorable mention the Pittsburgh Steelers, and going back to Seattle for us. Same reasons as Jimmy G and Aaron Rodgers. Uh, the Pittsburgh Steelers are ready made to run the Super Bowl defense already, and of course they have those different weapons in Najee, Johnson, as well as Claypool, and then just going back to Seattle next season might be an option for him. Um, I talked about the Washington Commanders, who is now the Washington football team's new name. Uh, After nearly 3 seasons, the Washington football team finally has a name. They were sued by the Native Americans for the Redskin name being very offensive. So we finally got a name for them. So say hello to the Washington Commanders. Um, I have mixed some feelings about it. I get the name. I get where it may come from. They're kind of keeping with the same color scheme. I seen the uniforms earlier. So I'm glad they finally came to a decision. But I think there was some more names on the board they could possibly get rid with. Me personally, I like the Washington Warriors. I know they have the Golden State Warriors in the NBA, but I feel like the Washington Warriors would be um, a great name for them guys. It kind of rolls off the tongue, 2W name. But yeah, Washington Commanders. If you feel like uh, have any opinions on Washington this name or any of the possible destinations for those three quarterbacks I just talked about, please comment in the comment section your opinion. Uh, Now we're going to get into former head coach of the Miami Dolphins, Brian Flores, suing the NFL. He said that it was a lot of racism uh, going on in the NFL as far as the coaching searches. Of course, they have the Art Mooney rule, so it's kind of crazy that we have no black head coaches anymore. He was the last before he got fired um, by the Dolphins this past season. Outside of Mike Tomlin, so definitely seeing him go away was definitely hard. Of course, we need more black coaches because the majority of the NFL are black, and so to see how have a guy at the top of the coaching staff that look like you would be great for the players. I know I'm not trying to be racist or anything like that. Not saying we have better coaches anything like that. I do believe that that makes a big part. Going to a guy that um, going to a guy that understand where you're coming from and kind of be there for you more than someone else would. It's kind of hard to pass that up. So having a guy in your corner like Brian Flores or any other coaches. Um, but yeah, he said he understands that he may be uh, missing coaching, the sport that he loves. So I would love to see him back in the NFL. If he doesn't, then so be it. There are other options starting to pop up. Of course, you have the Canadian League, well as USFL starting back, and I hear that the XFL is making a comeback at a few seasons. So maybe that's an option. Um, but yeah, just get into that. There was a story that he interviewed for. Well, he was about to interview for the New York Giants job, and that Bill Belichick, the coach of the Patriots, texted him was like, "Congratulations on the coaching job," and he texted back was like, um, "I haven't interviewed yet. I have an interview on Thursday," uh, and he was he was like, "You know that you're talking to Brian Flores, not Brian DeBall, former offensive coordinator of Alabama." Who actually got the job in New York for the Giants. So and even Bill Belichick was like, "Oh crap, I messed up." I mean, he just knew he was talking to a Brian, and so I mean, it's kind of hard. I'm sure there was a kind of hard moment to be like, "Dang man," to find out I didn't get the job this way. It's very tough. Um, and there was some more news that came out. He said he was paid. He was offered $100,000 to tank and lose certain games by the Dolphins owner. Um, he isn't the first uh, coach to say this. Marvin Lewis, a former Bengals coach, said he had the same offer during his coach's career. That's crazy, man. Uh, Me personally, I'm a sore loser, so I would hate to lose any game. I would go out and try my best at any game and put out. If I'm a coach, I put the best team on the field. I know there were some rumblings saying that he wasn't completely sold on Tua Tagovailoa. Um, he had I don't know, Joe Burrow wanted to trade up for him, Blase. Uh, and he obviously wanted to put the best team on the field. Joe Burrow, we see the things you're doing in the postseason right now, leading his team to the Super Bowl. So I can completely understand where he's coming from. He wanted to give his team the best chance, and didn't get that. Um, yeah, hopefully he wins his lawsuit. I think he had something going on with the Broncos and Elway. I'm not really sure the details behind that exactly, but I definitely know the New York Giants coaching job. He was definitely looking forward to getting possibly interviewing for on Thursday, as, tomorrow actually, as well as the things that came out about him being offered the tank. So yeah, speaking of Super Bowl, my prediction, as you can see, is a Super Bowl uh, with the Bengals winning the Super Bowl, uh, 37-31. What's up, Zay? So look, be safe out there, man. Love you, man. Can't wait to see you. But the Super Bowl, my Super Bowl prediction, I have the Bengals going over the Rams 37-31. Yes, I believe it's going to be a shootout. The Bengals have struggled to protect Joe Burrow, but he still gets the job done. Gets the ball out to his receivers, T. Higgins, Jamar Chase, his former teammate from LSU, Tyler Boyd. He got Joe Mixon in the backfield doing his thing. So yeah, and then the Rams, they have OBJ, Cooper Cup, um, Sonny Michelle and Cam Akers. So playmakers on both sides of the field for the Rams and the Bengals. I just believe they're gonna be a shootout. The score could be higher than that. I'm just sticking modest with 37-31, but I do believe it's gonna be a back and forth contest. With at the end, I have the Bengals pulling it out, kicking a couple field goals to end the game after a wild first three quarters. um, back and forth. This is the battle of the former SEC quarterbacks, Joe Burrow, Joey B, as they call him, and Matt Stafford, former quarterback of the Georgia Bulldogs. Joe Burrow during the regular season played great. He's my number one candidate to win the comeback player of the year. Had 4,611 passing yards, 34 touchdowns, 14 interceptions with 70% completion rate. Um, yeah, man, Joey B balled out this season. Um, him and Jamar Chase, a guy who showed that he was worth that top five draft status. A lot of people wanted the Bengals to go with the old lineman. They still need some online help, but Jamar Chase is definitely proven himself as that number one receiver coming out of that draft, as well as the right pick for them. Uh, as for Matt Stafford, he had a great season as well. Um, kind of played with a chip on his shoulder. A lot of people kind of criticized the Rams for trading their former quarterback Jared Goff and a lot of draft capital. Maybe I think a couple first round picks, and some couple seconds or whatever it was for Matt Stafford, guy who's never made the playoff, as well as of course never won a playoff game. For a guy who led them to the playoffs and to the Super Bowl um, a few seasons ago. Uh, Matt Stafford had 4,886 passing yards, 41 touchdowns, just 17 interceptions, uh, 67 uh, completion rate, completion percentage. Uh, yeah, he definitely proved that he is definitely the guy for him to put him over the top. He just fits what the Rams wanted to do. The league is going towards a more of a down the field, scoring 40, 50 points every game type of style offense. And Matt Stafford is a gunslinger. And LA is more of a aggressive city, more a city that's is a fast city who so he fits that culture of that city as well as that team. Got a young head coach in Sean McVay. I don't think he's 40 yet. So he's competing against a guy like Tom Brady uh, up until this year, who older than him, and he's coaching the team across from him. So Sean McVay is doing a great job with the Rams. Um, but yeah, man, that was my Super Bowl predictions for this season. Uh, for this weekend. Next weekend, actually, on the 13th, 37-31. Um, yeah, before I get into the NBA, like I said before, please like, share, and comment, and subscribe to Titletown TV, um, Titletown TV, as well as Sports Talk with KC. I will be here each and every Wednesday night at 8 o'clock with you guys. Um, Follow the YouTube channel for more content. Let's get into some NBA. The past weekend, the All Star starters were announced. We had um, a couple surprises on both ends. We have Trey Young as the starting guard for the East side of things. Of course, they're still doing the pickup games type of style. So for the East, the starters, we have guard Trey Young, guard forward DeMar DeRozan, Kevin Durant. He was voted as a starter, but I think he's going to sit this one out to focus on the playoff push. I know things a little hectic up there in Brooklyn with Kyrie um, vaccination ruling going on with him only playing the road games, and James Harden recently sitting out. So I think KD is trying to do the best, what's best for him and his team. Of course, Giannis and Joel Embiid. Uh, Honestly, the East they have three MVP, in my eyes, MVP candidates. You have Giannis, who the former MVP from a couple of seasons ago, Finals MVP, won the championship last season. Joel Embiid is playing one of the best basketball of his career, despite missing his teammate Ben Simmons. And then DeMar DeRozan is playing out of his mind. Is leading the Bulls to the playoffs once again after some people saying he might have been washed. He was done after his days in San Antonio. So just being in Chicago has revitalized his career. And look at him now; he's an All-Star starter for the first time in a while. For the West, we have, of course, Steph Curry, and then first-time All-Star, and uh, maybe an MVP candidate, and John Morant, who's leading the Memphis Grizzlies to a top four seed as of right now in the West. We have Andrew Wiggins, who might be the biggest surprise of both sides of things. LeBron James, of course, and Nikola Jokic. Uh, Kevin Durant and LeBron James are the captains this year. Andrew Wiggins, a lot of people are very uh, criticized his All Star status. A lot of people wanted to vote in Devin Booker in his spot, but it is position based. Devin Booker is not a forward, so he did get that nod over him. And maybe he could have slid LeBron to the three, uh, Jokic to the four, and I have Rudy Gobert from the Utah Jazz running the five for the starters. But hey, man, that's what they voted for. Andrew Wiggins, congratulations. Um, that was the All Star starters for both sides. Hopefully, we'll be hearing who the reserves will be this season here soon. Let me look at some of the possible names. Uh, Tomorrow we'll be getting the reserves, and the draft is on the 10th. Um, I can see guys like Jimmy Butler making it for the East, as well as Bradley Beal, who's a steady hand for the West. Rudy Gobert, um, Devin Booker, um, guys like Chris Paul could make it. Just being a fan favorite, Anthony Davis, James Harden, um, s- maybe Kyrie. Guys like that who are just fan favorite who might just get voted just based off of popularity and name value. Um, but yeah, we'll see tomorrow. See how it goes. I'll be back again tomorrow with some more content, possibly for you guys. Um, and discussing the reserves, and I might do a mock. I don't know. If y'all would like to see a mock All Star draft, it's something I've never done before, but I'm definitely interested in doing something like that. That'd be pretty cool. Uh, Drafting the team. So after they announce the reserves, I'll be going live and kind of putting together the teams if I were either LeBron or KD. Um, but yeah, man, it's been a cool episode. That's all I have for you guys tonight. We got a lot into NFL talk with Tom Brady retiring, um, Brian Flores lawsuit, possible destinations for these quarterbacks. Yeah, man. Uh, yeah. I've been on kind of a streak this week. I think I put out a mock draft last Wednesday for you guys. I did a redraft Monday. Yesterday, I put out a Titletown Wrestling uh, episode about the Royal Rumble, men and women who should have been in the Royal Rumble and the people they replaced. And then tonight, thank you guys for listening. Continue to like, share, and comment, and of course, subscribe to the YouTube channel as well as be looking out for the Titletown podcast on Apple and Spotify, as well as um, um, other um, platforms. Here's my Titletown brother right here. What up? No, I'm on live right now. Say what up to the people.
what's going on? Well,
How you doing, man? You at work?
nah, I just got, bro.
Okay. Well, pull up on me, man. I'm finna get off here. All right, y'all. It's been a great episode. About to handle some business real quick, and I'll see you guys hopefully tomorrow. Good night.